What's going on, Juco?
This is my state, this is my team. You know what that means. This is for the black and blue that I bleed. This is for the chance to bring home that ring. But everybody gonna doubt this. So far there ain't been another way around it. We bring heat to the game each week. They just say we ain't got what it takes, we ain't bout it. Well, y'all can just keep saying that we ain't gonna make it, but at the end of the day, this will be the Panthers nation. You know, this ain't a game to us major players at every angle that you can think of. That's why you hate us. Get out the way of greatness. You can look at our faces and see the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to create this. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but you can save it. Cause even on the darkest of days, you know we're always gonna find a way to tell them what we gonna do, we gotta
SeatGeek for all your ticketing.
What is good, everybody? Good night, Carolina Panther fans. It's a good night. It's a very good night. Especially after what we saw on Thursday night's scoreboard. Yay, yay! Hey, before we get into this, though, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below if you're on YouTube. And Be sure to check out the Facebook page, keep pounding in all caps, for in-game posts, polls, opinions, and reactions to NFL news, as well as schedules for the channel and the Yahoo Sports Keep Pounding League. Fantasy Football League. Alright, let's dive on in. We're at week 8, and we have a shot now at a potential win. So I'm excited, man. I'm very excited. How y'all feeling right now? Y'all happy with this? Especially after that Thursday scoreboard, man. Yeah. The Buccaneers are falling off the wagon wheels, man. And Atlanta and our Carolina Panthers are about to take that leap. And hopefully take first place here. It's been a long time in coming. But we're finally here, y'all. We're finally here. We can take advantage of a very weak NFC South this year. And I'm very, very happy with the track that we're on right now. And I'm going to explain to you guys what this means. First of all, shout out to Lock Poppy. I see him in chat. And shout out to everybody else that's checking out the stream right now. And all the new members and subs. Thank you guys so much. It is a pleasure and a privilege to have you guys here. You know, joining the family of this Panthers crew. We're almost up to 500 on YouTube, so share the stream, guys. Share the stream. So, alright, yeah, it's a late one. It's a late stream. I apologize for being so late with it. I've just been absolutely bombarded with stuff to do today. It's just been a crazy day. So, I got on here as soon as I could. You know, some nights are just like that, you know. I try to plan for these streams after 9 p.m., but I can't put a number on when, you know, an hourly number on when these streams are going to start. So you guys have to kind of be prepared, have those alerts on. And I frankly have not had that much time to even alert you guys on the Facebook page. So it's been that crazy, guys. But we're going to try to make the best of it. As soon as things start to calm down a little bit, maybe we'll have more stability and we'll have a scheduled time. But frankly, I can't schedule it. It's just kind of random at the moment. But that's all right. You know, we're trying to make the best of it. But I got my late night crew, and everybody could watch this on the VOD if you miss it on regular live stream. So there you go. You know, everything's on YouTube, everything's on Facebook. They're not getting deleted. So as far as I know, the Facebook ones are not getting deleted, but I don't know. Since Matt Rule has been gone, I'm more excited for Panthers games. And I agree. I think a lot of Panther fans feel that same way right now. You know, the players are rallying around Steve Wilkes, and they want him. They want his name in the hat, man. They want him. And as I told y'all, man, these are the changes that you should expect when Wilkes takes over. And look at all the success that we've had so far in the last 2 weeks. And that's just 2 weeks. Imagine this man is a permanent head coach with us. Just imagine. He has full control of this roster, full command of the draft capital, full command over everything that we're doing. That is the mission right now. And I'm going to tell you, the last time I felt that championship feeling was with Dabo Swinney in Clemson. And you could see the results of what happened when Dabo took over in Clemson. I'm feeling that with Steve Wilkes now. As soon as that man took over as interim, I felt that championship feeling, guys. And you can't ignore it. You cannot ignore that gut feeling, guys. It's impossible. You know, we've seen significant changes in 2 weeks. Significant. Wilkes wants this, man. He wants control of this team. And for very good reason. He knows and he sees what we have right now. And he says, I see potential. Some of you fans out there see, oh, well, we're going to lose out and miss out on our number 1 draft pick. But this man sees potential. And so does every fan that is in this crew right now watching. And paying close attention to these changes that have been made. They see the vision too. So, I'm excited for you guys, man. I'm excited for all of us together as a family to witness this rise. You know, I don't know how else to better to say this, but started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. That's where we're at, guys. Last place in the league. And now we have a shot at the division lead. Wow. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, guys. Come on. What a crazy year. And David Screw says, keep pounding tomorrow for the division lead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wilkes wants that division. Yes, he does. Now, Samuel, I held off on your comment for a second here because I want to address that in a little bit. If we win the South, what's next? Good question. I think right now we need to focus on just winning the South. You know, take it one step at a time. But what's next is trying to fix this cap issue that we have, salary cap issue, in the offseason. See if we can get ourselves in a position where we can build instead of having to move pieces around and just to make money. You know, I think that's crucial right at the moment. That's the next step. We gotta fix all of the problems that were created by Marty and Matt Rule and his crew before we can truly start really building on the foundation that Wilkes wants to build and really create this masterpiece of a 53-man roster that he wants. You know, but it starts with trying to get all this stuff clean. Let's take down all the circus tents that we're not using anymore. You know, let's get rid of the rings. Let's get rid of all the gigantic garbage, you know, that was used by the circus. And let's clean up this house, man. You know what I mean? It's cleanup time. And it starts with using what we have and really creating a division winner this year. That's the first step. Second step, clean up the salary cap, get that straightened out. Then we can go into the draft knowing exactly what we need, what we're going to look for. And at that point, you know, that's step 3. And see where we are from there. And let's just take it one step at a time. because I've got a pretty good idea of what we want to do with the draft picks that we currently own, positional wise. But I'm not going to get ahead of the gun here. I'm going to focus on one game at a time, like everybody else is, and we're going to take this division first. Let's carry out step one. And I believe in Steve Wilkes. I believe in his ability to do this. I believe in the talent that we have on this team to be able to accomplish this goal. I believe in everything that Steve Wilkes believes in right now. And I believe in the vision. I see it as clear as day, as many of you do. So I'm really, really excited. So that's the road ahead, Samuel. As far as after we win the South, what's next? Win the South again. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's make this team a competitor in the playoffs. Not just get in there, but make this team a competitor next year. Let's actually take down a team or two. You know what I mean? That's the next step up the ladder. Once we become a competitor, then we start thinking Lombardi. You know what I mean? We start thinking the big game in 2024. And if this division keeps holding out the way it is, I can see it. If Tom and the Buccaneers keep dropping the way they are for the next couple of years, this division's ours. Straight up. It's ours. It's ours for the taking. Now, I'm going to show you guys what our schedule looks like, and then we're going to go from there. I posted this earlier today, but I'm going to show it again because I think it bears looking at big time here. And let me put this on screen. There we go. Alright, so what you are looking at is the schedules for Tampa, New Orleans, and Atlanta. This is what they have left, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. And from what I'm looking at, the way these teams are trending right now, Atlanta is our main competition for winning the South. Which means, folks, these two Atlanta games just got real interesting. Real quickly. So, and I got tickets for the second one. The home game in Charlotte. I am so pumped to be able to go to this second game, guys. You have no idea. After what... Guys. And ladies too. Man. If you haven't caught that Tampa Bay score, I'm telling you, bro. Look at it. Look at all the gloriousness that is this score right here. Look at that record. 3-5. Doesn't that guy just give you cold chills right now? Doesn't it? Like, honestly, like, the fact that we could actually take this division this year with the talent we have. Dude, I got goosebumps. I got legit goosebumps. This is the first time. And I'm, at the same time, I'm sitting here just going, don't give me too much hope. Don't do this. Don't do this because every time I get this much hope, this team gets backstabbed. But here's the difference this time. I think we changed the status quo, ladies and gentlemen. I think we did. With Steve Wilkes. I think this is it. We don't have anything holding us back. Now I'm going to show you guys what our schedule looks like and how many wins I think we can get. Then we're going to talk about the rest of these schedules for the rest of the teams in the division and why I said Atlanta is our main competition. Now, imagine a scenario where Steve Wilkes was in control of this team for the entire year. All right? This is just dream scenario. We would have won against the Browns. We would have won against the Giants. We would have won against the Saints. And we probably would have given Kyler Murray and the Cardinals a run for their money. That's a 3-1 start, ladies and gentlemen. Then you go into San Francisco. Yes, I admit San Francisco is better than us this year. I will grant you that. You know, the Rams game was a potential win if we had not choked. You know what I mean? Like, under Steve Wilkes, we would have won. And we would have not given up those 24 points. Had our offense been playing the way they were supposed to be playing, that would have been a win. And then we went against Tampa right there. Look at that. But unfortunately, the Rams game is where Steve Wilkes took over. So basically, he was just observing, trying to figure out what we have versus what we need to change. You know, so it's just an observation game, really. Once he had that under his belt and he figured out, okay, we need to adjust this, and this to have a shot at really winning, you know. Then it became a matter of, okay, let's do these things this week, you know, in preparation for the Buccaneers game, you know, because division games are more important than outside of the division games, realistically. So, I mean, you could take that L to the Rams in an observation loss, that's fine, you know, and still on track for the 6-9. Alright, so realistically, okay, getting back to reality and what our record really looks like, we're looking at the 3 wins right now. We're looking at 2 wins right now and a potential 3rd against Atlanta here this Sunday. So once you get the win against Atlanta, in Atlanta, that makes us 3 wins on the season. We will then have to go to Cincinnati. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals game, if we can put up a good showing, we can show the league, you know, we're not going away. This team is legitimate, you know. I'm not going to say we have a shot at this one in Cincinnati, but for now I'm marking it down as a loss. But you never know. You never know. This is a crazy year. So you never know. But right now, I think Cincinnati's got too many offensive weapons for us to... And we're not scoring enough points to make this Bengals game doable at the moment. So then we go and we beat the Falcons again. Alright, so this is 3-1 in the next 3 games. 2-1 in the next 3 games. Sorry. 2-1. So 2-1. Then we roll into Baltimore. And Baltimore, I think this game could come down to some really raunchy defense on the lines. You got You got to win the lines battle in the trenches in order to have a shot against Baltimore in their own stadium. Right now I'm saying we're taking an L there, which is okay. And then we beat the Broncos the following week. All right, so we look at this and we go, okay, that's 2-1, that's 2-2, 3-2, and going into the bye. That's not too shabby. All right, that would make our record going into the bye 5-7, I believe, correct? Yeah, 5-7. This is where things get interesting. Seattle. I've marked this down as our trap game. And let me explain why I say that. Number one, we don't know what type of Seattle team is going to come out there to face us on the December 11th. We don't know. This team has been flip-floppy all year. So we don't know. But if we should manage to win this game in Seattle, that carries momentum into the Pittsburgh game. Now, the Pittsburgh game, they have not been scoring enough points to make them a legitimate threat. Plus, that game is at home. And I'm going to tell you right now, Panthers fans will show up for this game. There is no love lost for Pittsburgh among Panthers fans, for the most part. They will show up. And it's going to be loud by the time we get to that point in the season in Charlotte. I say we get the win against the Steelers for the first time in a long time in regular season. Now, Detroit is another matter. Detroit is that team that puts up godlike amounts of points but can't play defense. So, they have no defense whatsoever. It's probably last in the league. We need to take advantage of that. And if we cannot take advantage of that and they beat us in a gun show, then they pretty much win. I mean, I'm okay with us taking that loss to the Lions because here's the thing. We're looking for a total of 6 to 9 wins to win the division. The Buccaneers. Now, as many people have pointed out, we cannot count on Tom Brady still struggling at that point in the season.
Save you hundreds on car insurance.
We cannot count on the Buccaneers still struggling at this point in Week 17. Tom might have a turnaround. He might be extremely dangerous. That's what's going to make this Saints game at the end of the year that much more important. We have got to take that Saints game. We got to take it. It's crucial. If we want this division, we got to take the Saints. We got to get the sweep. We get the sweep on Atlanta, and we get the sweep on the Saints. That Buccaneers game will not matter. Even if Tom Brady comes back and goes Superman on us, it won't matter. We'll already have, enough wins to take the division. Because by this point, and this is where we start looking at other teams' schedules in our division, Tampa's going to lose a couple more. And I'm going to show you their schedule, and I'm going to show you why. But first, our schedule. Because our schedule is the most important thing right now. These two games, we need at least one of these games against Pittsburgh or Seattle in order to completely seal up the division. And I'm betting it's going to be that Pittsburgh game. I'm betting on it. At this point, if I'm betting at Vegas, it's going to be the Steelers game. 100%. The Steelers, if they keep going the way they are, and they don't put up enough points, they're in trouble. And the Steelers, case in point, they're playing the Eagles this Sunday. Undefeated Eagles team, which is going to stay undefeated and go 7-0. But that's a topic for later. What I want to show you guys is Pittsburgh's numbers right now. And this is why I say we have a shot at this game. If you look at how many points they have scored, it's not that intimidating. You know, you got 23 against the Bengals, strong start, and then they drop to the Patriots, only scoring 14. Then they score 17 against the Browns, who have a decent defense. They took the loss to the Jets, only scoring 20 points. They only scored 3 against a very much superior Bills team. And they only scored 20 in their win over the Buccaneers. And they scored 10 against the Dolphins. So if you look at it, these guys have not scored over 20 points, realistically, since week. That is an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. And by the time they get to us, they still have to go through the Eagles, the Saints, the Bengals again. You know, the Colts, who have been struggling, they may actually win that game. Who knows? But they got to go up against the Falcons, the Ravens, and then us. There's no way they correct this problem by then. I don't see it. Not with Kenny Pickett. Not with the offense playing the way they are. And they're at the bottom of their division, 2-5. Alright, so if you look at it, we had a lot of help from scores last week to, you know, shift around the three-win teams, the 4-win teams, and the 2-win teams. So it's kind of like a shuffleboard right now. That, you know, a game of musical chairs. Who's going to have a chair, you know, at the end of this? You know, so we don't know who's going to end up where, realistically. But we do know that Pittsburgh is not scoring over 20 points. There's certain trends that we can follow, such as that one. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. When you look at Tampa Bay's schedule going forward, they've got the Rams, the Seahawks, the Browns, the Saints, the 49ers, the Bengals, Cards, us, and then the Falcons. This is a recipe for last place for Tampa Bay if they don't start turning it around. And turn it around immediately. So, this is a Tampa team that hasn't scored enough points to be a contender. Shout out to Sean on Facebook. What's going on? Shout out to David Screws. How you doing? But yeah, getting back to this, I don't see them correcting the problem before they get to us. Although you never know. It is Tom Brady. You can never count Tom Brady out. But I'm 50-50 on the fence, you know. He is distracted by this divorce right now. He's distracted by a few other things. It could happen, man. It could happen. Speaking of family things that are going on, shout out to JP on the C3 podcast. Congratulations on having a daughter coming very, very soon. You know, there's bigger things than football sometimes, and family is definitely one of them. So I just want to say congratulations and shout out to them. Hit that like button for JP, man. That's what's up, man. Hope you have lots of happy and loving memories with your new daughter. So, and I think that's his second kid, man. Wow. Awesome. Adding to the Panthers family. That's what's up. Much love. But, yeah, let's get back to it. So, yeah, this is a recipe for last place for Tampa if they don't start turning this thing around. And I don't see them beating the Rams, the Seahawks, the Browns, Saints, Niners the way they've been playing. No. Bengals, nope. That's not a win. Nope. Cards, nope. Us, nope. The way our defense was playing, whew, we could take them again, for sure. And the Falcons. You know, if the Falcons keep putting up those amounts of points, you know, against these tough defenses, yeah, they may have a shot against the Falcons. I'll give them that. Maybe. But it'll depend on how they look against us, whether they have a shot against the Falcons or not. But and you go here. New Orleans has the Raiders, which should be a win. Ravens, Steelers. So New Orleans will be kind of flip-floppy here for a little bit. And then it'll start to get bad for them. You know, so you'll start out 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, and then this is where they're gonna fall, right here. The Eagles and us. That's gonna be 4-6 to finish out their year. Because there's no way they're beating the Eagles. There's no way they're beating us. You know, with our defense playing the way they are, we're going to shut down half their offensive game plan. Just right out of the gate. So, they're going to have to really fight if they want that win against us. Now, you look at Atlanta's schedule. This is where things get dicey. And I think if we're going to be battling against anybody in this division right now, the way these patterns are holding up, it's going to be these guys. So, we've got 2 games coming up out of the next 3 for Atlanta against them. They've got the Chargers in between. That's going to be a loss for Atlanta. That's 0-3 if we pull out these 2 games here against them. This is why this is important, guys. They're going to beat the Bears. They're going to beat the Commanders. They're going to beat the Steelers. The Saints game, the Saints will probably beat Atlanta. I have that feeling the Saints will beat Atlanta. Just a feeling on that one. I think they've got more in the tank than Atlanta does. It'll come down to who makes the most mistakes in that game on defense. Ravens game. Atlanta will give the Ravens a run for their money, but the Ravens will win. Cards, I got the Cards winning that game. And then Atlanta versus the Buccaneers, and Atlanta will beat the Buccaneers. So Atlanta will finish up with 7 wins. We will finish up with 9 should we manage to beat Seattle and Pittsburgh and complete the sweep. Regardless of how that Tampa game ends up, it might be 8 wins. But still, that's enough to take the division. I see it happening, guys. The path is clear. It's there. If these teams continue these trends that are going on right now, the opportunity is there. And we need to seize it. You know? But it starts with these 2 Atlanta games. They're the most crucial games of this season. I will say that again. These Atlanta games are the most crucial of this season. We have got to take both these games, otherwise it will not matter. It won't matter how many more games we are able to pull off this year, you know, against some of those teams that I just named. You know, surprise opponents like Seattle or Pittsburgh, it will not matter. If we don't finish in 15, should we stay within the 6 to 9 win range, which is a good thing. Now, that just leaves the cap space problem. And I don't think we're going anywhere in the playoffs. We may win 1 game, but I don't think we're going any further than that. And the reason I say that is you still got to deal with Philadelphia. You still got to deal with Dallas, who's starting to come back with Dak Prescott. And knowing our luck, we're either going to be facing Seattle or the Saints in the wild card round. And we know how that turned out last time. Not well. The difference this time is we have Steve Wilks at the helm. But I don't think, you know, with our offense going the way it is at this pace, it will not be enough. We have got to make the adjustments necessary to push beyond the 21 points in order to make ourselves a playoff contender. Based on the talent that we have right now, I don't know if that's possible or not. It will depend on what type of offensive scheme that we're trying to run. So I will be keeping a close eye on what type of play call on Sunday, because that's going to be the key factor, you know, going forward. Now, I don't know how good these backup corners are. I can't attest to that. So that's why we're going to start diving into the depth chart. We're actually going to start with the Falcons defense first, and there's a reason for it. All right, so if you look at offensive linebacker, I have no idea even how to pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try. Adito Kambudo, I don't know. I don't even know. Nasty 6 foot even 305 pound guy from Clemson. Of course, we're all familiar with him. 4.5 sacks so far, 14 solo tackles. Very, very dangerous defensive end. So, whoever gets matched up against him is going to have their hands full. And I'm betting it's going to be Icky. The good news is Icky has had a good year so far. Very good year. As far as allowing sacks. So, what I'm going to ask him to do is to stay disciplined and not commit penalties. That's the key here. If you look at Grady Jarrett's career as a whole, 7.5 sacks back in 2019, 6 back in 2018. And he's rising in those sack totals right now. We gotta be careful. He also can deflect passes. He's got 2 so far. I think, that's starting to not become so much of a factor anymore because of the discipline on our offensive line as of last game. However, I'm still going to highlight the people that can do it anyway because we need to be aware of them. 190 tackles solo out of 384. So, I mean, he's an open field tackler for sure. Not really known for his forced fumbles. He's had like 5 between 2018 and 19. That was pretty much the peak of his career. So, I'm not saying he's going downhill necessarily, but he's still just over the hump, if you want to call it that. So looking at this year so far, his two pass deflections came in the first 2 games against the Bengals and the 49ers. So be aware of that. Just because you got a good offensive line doesn't mean he can't pass deflect you. Buccaneers had a horrible line, so he focused more on the tackling aspect than the running game when it came to the Buccaneers. Same with the Browns, because of their rushing attack, and the Seahawks. And more so about pressures at that point. 1.5 sacks this year. So, that's Grady Jarrett. Former Clemson man. Alright. You look at Lorenzo Carter. Rashaan Evans is a big one you want to watch out for. If you aren't aware of where this dude is on the field, that's going to hurt you. Especially on the running game. 6'2", height-wise, 232 pounds from Alabama. He is a run stopper. Which means, look at the solo tackles, per game here. So, he's a run stopper. Excuse me. 3 pass deflections so far this year. Be aware of that. He had 2 against the Seahawks. So be on guard. With Tennessee, he actually did pretty well in open field tackling. And then he came to the Falcons and he actually got some help in the secondary, which is why you see more assists. That freed him up to focus more on pass deflections and recover fumbles and stop the run. So, that is essentially what we're doing with there. Moving on to let's see. We're looking at Richie Grant. Let's look at Richard Grant. 6'0", 200 pounds, Central Florida man. 27 solo tackles, 1 interception. But a total of 4 pass deflections so far. So watch out for pass deflections from him. If he is in the box, that's when you need to worry about that. If he's not in the box, do your usual thing. You know. But when he's in the box, be wary. So for the most part, he is a run stopper as well. 50 tackles solo out of 80 career-wise. Second year in the league. But he's already got a forced fumble last year. Keep that in mind. And an interception. So for a safety of his caliber, that's pretty impressive starting out. It's a good start to his career. He's got a long way to go, but that's a good start for 2 years in. And Dean Marlowe. This is a James Madison person, man. And that's kind of wild, man. James Madison. To see somebody come out of there is very rare. 6'1", 205 pounds. 6 years in the league. 3 solo tackles this year. I mean, it's a quiet year for this dude. Nothing really to point out this year. And he's had 2 or 3 pass deflections. Nothing major. Career-wise, 57 for under 12. I mean, this isn't one of the stronger safeties out there. We can take advantage of that when he's on the field. Let's see. A lot of people were telling me this is a weak Falcons secondary. And we need to exploit it. Without A.J. Terrell, it's weak. With A.J. Terrell, it's a very average defensive secondary because of the skills that A.J. Terrell brings out there. This is his 3rd year in the Falcons system. 6'1", 195 pounds. But God, is he lightning quick. And I've seen enough Clemson games where he's been in the orange and white to tell you that. Very dangerous man. So we are very fortunate that this dude is not on that field on Sunday. He's had 5 pass deflections on the year. And he's been really known for his coverage ability and keeping up with some of the best wide receivers in the league. So, consider yourselves lucky that we're not dealing with this dude, man. 125 tackles out of 184, total for his career. He's an open field tackler. And if you want to look at his rookie year, 75 total tackles, 62 solo. 62 solo out of 75 now. 3 tackles for a loss, 1 interception, 7 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles in 14 games as a rookie. Those are some monster numbers. And we had a shot at this man. And we didn't take it. I'm just saying. We had a shot at this right here. And we didn't take it. Matt Rule, what were you thinking, buddy? That's all I got to say on this one. What were you thinking? Because he had control of this draft at that time. We had an opportunity to get him. That's just inexcusable. We needed a corner at that point too. And we ended up trading a whole bunch of picks to get one. You know, two of them. Because it was Gilmore and it was C.J. Henderson, right? So we ended up trading for both of these guys. And my God, man. Just to cover up Matt Rule's mistake. We would even had to move a single draft pick if we would have just drafted this dude right here. And I'm taking the Clemson biased glasses off now. This dude is the best available corner at that time in that draft. Put my Panthers color glasses back on. Alright, we're trying to build the best 53-man roster possible. That was the best possible way to do it. But we got lucky this man is not in on Sunday, though. We got an opportunity to exploit. But God willing that anybody that's hurt right now or out, gets healthy and gets back on that field. Because I hate seeing anybody get injured, man. I hate it. I hate it more than losing. And that's saying something, man. The next question is this. Can we exploit that weakness with PJ's lack of a long ball? Now, we know he can throw short and medium. That's not the question here. Can he throw the deep ball consistently? Back like he did in 2020. If he can, that gives us a really, really solid shot at winning this game against the Falcons. That means we can actually put up enough points to win this game. As it stands, we'll end up, with about 21. Our defense will shut them down to about somewhere in between 10 and 17 points. Now, doing some scouting, most of their offense runs through Mariota and the running game. Now, are y'all starting to see an opportunity here? The window is opening. And it's a fun one. Sorry, I just shaved in these nose hairs. You know how it is. If you got a beard, you know how it is. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting year. To the point where if the Falcons do end up with 7 wins, like I think they will, and these trends continue, and we have our shot at 9, division's ours. These 2 games right here determine whether we take it or not against the Falcons. This away game and this home game coming up. Against specifically them. Of course, we still have to finish our business with the rest of these teams outside of the division. And hopefully get that sweep on the Saints. To where that Tampa game doesn't matter later on. But there is a chance we could go undefeated throughout the entire division and sweep all three. Now, that has never happened. To my knowledge, that has never happened in this division history with us in control of it. That's an incredible feat, to be real with you. And that would be historical. Because not even the Super Bowl representative Panthers in 2015 managed to accomplish that. We came close. We came this close to pulling it off in a perfect season back in 2015. But we could not finish against this very Falcons team that we're playing on Sunday. But it looks like a different Falcons team, though, doesn't it? Completely different. And that's what makes this interesting. I mean, if we take these two Falcons teams, these two Falcons games, and we get that Broncos game in the win column, we're back on track for the 6-9, like I originally predicted. And we would have actually exceeded expectations had Steve Wilkes been the head coach, and we would have won the Giants game plus the Cleveland Browns game, which would have put us at 11 highest wins. 11 highest ceiling. Think about that, folks. If Steve Wilkes had control of that draft going into this year, and Matt Rule never touched it, imagine what we would have right now. I'm just saying. You know, at least we took control of this team again. We got command of the ship again. And that's what matters. You know, it's not too late. We got it back just in time. And I could not be more thrilled, man. And to be honest with you, I had that Rams game down as a loss anyway. Let's be fair. That was a very, very different Rams team about 2 or 3 weeks before. You know, they were very much tougher than what they looked on that scoreboard with 24-10. You know, that's a tough team. And we showed some grit and some spine and some backbone against this Rams team. And this defense should really be proud of themselves. And this O-line as well. You know, even though we didn't get it done on the scoreboard, these linemen should really, really be proud of themselves and patting themselves on the back. Because these last 2 weeks have been excellent. As far as line work. You see the discipline, number 1. You see the consistency, number 2. You see the attention to detail and the mechanics that are put into both of these lines to help them win the battle in the trenches. That is coaching. God, I can't stress that enough. That is coaching. That is brilliant coaching. And when you go and you listen to Steve Wilkes' press conferences and everything that he's saying, you know, that is how a head coach should talk. That is every bit how a head coach should speak and address the media and everybody out here that's asking questions. And it's just so refreshing. You have no idea. Y'all just have no idea. I've listened to so many of these like mediocre coaches and coordinators that have come through here, and to hear somebody like that saying the things that he has said, coming from a championship team like the Panthers were in 15, it just, God, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, man. We have reached our tipping point and we are starting to go back uphill. And it begins with this week. Now, our next problem is going to be the Panthers cap room. Give me just a second here. Oh, another piece of interesting news. The Colts actually benched Matt Ryan. And that's a curious thing, man. Because I don't think the Colts have figured out the problem yet. They still have not figured it out. You don't solve the problem by benching Matt Ryan. You solve your problem by fixing the offensive line. We've seen what Matt Ryan can do when he has an offensive line protecting him. And proper weapons, at his disposal. And a decent, even just a decent running game. That offense is nasty, dude. And I just don't understand the Colts' logic on this one. I mean, you could probably say, okay, Matt Ryan's at the end of his career, this, and that, but to me, I don't understand this move. It makes no sense to me. When the offensive line is clearly your problem, I don't understand it. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. Let's get back to the elephant in the room that is our salary cap issue. Now, currently we are sitting at $9.7 million in available cap space. Now, we've had to move up Spencer Brown this week because Chuba Hubbard is hurt. And we'll take a look at the injury list in a minute. But currently, you are looking at $970,000 in the red. Meaning, we are over the cap by $970,000. That's not a good thing, folks. Not a good thing. Whenever you see the red, it's not a good. So, we're going to look at that in just a second and just see who we can move, what would happen if we move certain players, would it affect us this year? Would it affect us next year? Would it affect us in both years? And how would that affect the dead money? The dead money, that's the question, man, because I don't know how that would hit us in dead money. Plus, there's certain players that we probably want to re-sign in the offseason. And we'll go over those too. Alright, so currently, I want to look at the injury report. No. Depth chart first. Alright, so we have the Falcons offense. And that's led by Marcus Mariota, who I'm not scared of, by the way. We got to keep him from running amok down the field, which I think we'll be able to do. Last we heard, Frankie Louvu should be out there. So that will help with that. So then the next thing you want to look at is Chris Lindstrom. Now, Chris Lindstrom, if you remember, is from Boston College, 6'3", 307 pounds. He's been with the Falcons for a few years now. And a solid guy. You know, whoever we have going up against him is going to have their hands full. All right. That brings me to Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is one of the better tight ends out there. I wouldn't say top 10, but I would say he's one of the better ones out there. We do want to be aware of where he is on the field. 6'6", 246. With this year being as crazy as it is, he has kind of become a top 10 tight end. If you can believe it. Some of the ones that were doing well earlier are starting to taper off a little. So he's starting to get a lot of attention now. 16 receptions, under 78 yards, 11.13 average, 1 touchdown. That's this year so far. He'll get his 2 or 3 catches, but against the Seahawks, that was where he really shined with 87 yards off 5 catches. This year, 28 long on that one, longest play. 25 was his longest play against the Browns. But, I mean, we do want to watch out for this dude because he will rack up yards, as you can see from his rookie year. 1,026 with a touchdown. He's not a red zone threat. However, you don't want to lose sight of him. Yeah, so that's 15 catches. 15 games started, 68 receptions. So, by the end of the year, you should be expecting about the same. Probably around 70. And he's already gotten his touchdown, so I'm not too concerned about that. But let's just not lose sight of him. He's a Florida native. So there you go. Many of you guys will remember the name Damiere Byrd. Damiere Byrd, 5'9", 175, from the South Carolina Gamecocks. 7 years in the league, 1 catch for 75 yards so far, 1 touchdown. Not really a factor so far. But he was with us 2016 through 2018. Why is that important? Because he scored 2 touchdowns for us in 2017. He had a solid year that year. 10 catches, 105, you know. It's kind of that slot guy that just randomly came in different packages. Mostly we used him in special teams. But then he went to the Arizona Cardinals. He got his 1 touchdown. He got increased production with them. 32 catches, 359. New England got him 47 catches, 604 yards, and a touchdown, which made me sick to my stomach, by the way. I did not like seeing him in a Patriots uniform. God, it was sickening. But moving on past that, went to the Bears. Bears barely used him. He got a touchdown there. And then he went to the Falcons, where he currently resides, with 1 touchdown so far. So he's already gotten his 1 touchdown for the year. So I'm not concerned about him getting another one against us. However, it's that yardage, the average that you want to focus on. Anybody else on this offense that we really want to look at? Felipe Franks, that name sounds familiar. Did we ever have him on our practice squad at any point? That name just sounds familiar. No, he's been with Atlanta. Okay. All right. So that's what's going on there. Injury report. Let's go. We're going to start with the Falcons on the injury report. We got AJ Terrell, who's out. We got Jalen Hawkins, the free safety, who's out with a concussion. We got D. Alford with a hamstring, who's questionable. We got Caleb Huntley, the running back, with an illness, who is not likely to play. Now, the main one, again, we need to focus on is AJ Terrell. That gives us that opportunity on offense. I'll also focus on Hawkins. Hawkins is interesting too. Because he is the starting free safety, so you're going to see Dean Marlowe come in. And we'll see how good Dean Marlowe is, man. He's getting thrown into the fire here. So, I'm curious. And where is Caleb Huntley on the running backs list? Where is he? Third string. Okay. Gotcha. Alright. So we're not really looking at them. Excuse me. D. Alford had limited practice all week and is questionable with a hamstring injury. We may or may not see D out there. 50-50. He may get subbed out somewhere along the lines. Alright, our injury list. Good God, how long is this thing? It goes on forever. Good grief. Alright, let's get started. Marquise Haynes, illness, did not practice Wednesday or Thursday, limited practice on Friday, questionable for the game. I say we may see him out there on Sunday. Taylor Moton, illness, did not practice, full practice. He's in. Moton should be in. Nixon with an illness. Limited practice on Thursday, full practice on Friday. Nixon's going to play. Mike Jordan. Short for Michael Jordan, I'm guessing. Personal reasons. But he's back. And he'll play. If we need him. He's available. Hopefully we don't need him. Chuba Hubbard, ankle injury. That's the big one that people have been talking about all week. Did not practice all week and he's out. Alright, so Foreman really needs to step up. We're going to find out about Blackshear, and we're going to find out if our practice squad running back, Spencer Brown, is everything that I've been claiming he is. So, all of that and more on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. going to find out soon. Have I gotten any injury report? I'm doing it right now, Locke. Appreciate you for asking that question. All right, Matthew Iniditis. Concussion protocol. Finally getting out of it this week. Full practice on Thursday and Friday. We should see him on the field. Dante Jackson. Here's the big one. Right here. Ankle injury. Limited practice on Wednesday. Full practice Thursday and Friday. We will see him on Sunday. Frankie Luvu. Here's another big one. Shoulder injury. Limited practice on Wednesday. Full practice on Thursday, but limited on Friday. So he's kind of a 50-50. We'll see on game day, right? But we don't want him to re-injure that shoulder. So there was an article on the homepage saying that we're going to take it slow with Frankie, you know, and not overuse him, but let's make sure that we keep him healthy, you know, and let him heal up. But we'll have him in on certain packages, though. Mostly for the reasons of probably trying to stop Mariota from running, or a few of these sweep plays or counter plays, is what I would bet on Frankie being there for. Because we've got enough men up front that we can handle the draw, we can handle the ISO right now. These guys are stepping up. We got Shaq, we got Brown, we've got Matthew Iniditis, so we should be fine up front, you know, without Luvu there. So he'll be on the outside for the most part. Should the run go towards the middle, you know, Frankie can handle it. Just don't go shoulder to shoulder with anybody, you know, with that shoulder injury that you got right there. Aaron Mosby, linebacker, hamstring, limited, full, and will play if we need him. Laviska, hamstring injury, limited, and full practice on Friday. So we may surprisingly see Laviska. Sean Chandler with a hamstring injury. This must have happened during practice because we didn't use Sean out there during that game against Tampa, as far as I know. Limited, and full practice on Friday. So, if you're a Sean Chandler fan, that is good news. If not, then, it's whatever. We just don't want him in, to be honest, on long drives or certain packages. So, Miles Hartsfield, hamstring injury, limited, and full practice. That's good news if you are a fan of Hartsfield over Chandler, which I am. And I'm hoping that Hartsfield will be able to play. J.C. Horn, huge injury right here. Ribs, limited practice on Thursday and Friday, full practice on Friday, questionable. So that means Horn's probably going to play. Littleton with a groin injury, limited practice on Wednesday and Thursday, full practice on Friday. He will play, probably. Austin Corbett, the guard. Knee injury. Limited practice on Thursday, but full practice on Friday. That gives me hope this dude will play. And finally, Justin Burris with a hip injury. Limited practice on Friday. Questionable. We most likely will not see Burris out there. Which means, if you look at our depth chart, looking at it the way it is, We still got Woods on IR. Burris is now hurt, so Sam Franklin Jr. will get some playing time. And that is your injury report for this week. Yeah, a lot of Poppy says so many hamstring and ankle injuries. Good. Good point out right there. And I was going to address this. That's that turf issue. The turf, and some of it is just football related injuries, but most of it is turf. And I think I made my message loud and clear on that one. It's scientifically proven the turf is not a good thing. So, as far as kick returner, we got Blackshear back there. Laviska's second, Chuba is third. So, I think we're looking good, man. We're looking good. Gross Matos hasn't really done that much this year. I'm a little concerned in that area. Barno, I'm not sure is the answer to that question either. So we're gonna need a defensive end to match up on the other side of Brian Burns and Marquise Haynes. Now, who that's gonna be, we'll see. You know, time will tell with this next draft who that's gonna be. So, that in mind, you got Cade Mays taking over for Corbett, should he not be able to play. And right now, I'm not 100% sure if Cade Mays is ready. However, he did allow only one sack last season with his former team in college. But again, that is college. And he's from Tennessee. So keep that in mind. You know, although Tennessee has been really rising in college football recently with some really, really good players. So, a few of those may show up in what we're dealing with. Now, offensively, I need to see Higgins get thrown to a little bit more. I need Laviska to get more involved once he gets healthy. I would even think about throwing the ball to Richie a little bit. Let's just give him a couple of plays, you know? I mean, let's get this ball spread around. Oh, man. And I'm going to say this, man. This is our first game without the big guy, number 22. And it kind of dampens the mood a little bit. But I'll say this. Chuba's ready. If this man stays healthy, he is ready. We've got Foreman, we've got Blackshear, we've got Spencer Brown. So I'm feeling pretty solid about this running back crew that we have still here in Carolina. Yeah, it's going to be tough not seeing him out there, man, in a Panther uniform. It's going to be rough. But, again, I think we're ready. Honestly, I think that Tampa game was the first one without Christian in a Panthers uniform. I think so. So yeah, that's where we're sitting right now. We can go through some of these teams and predictions, and then start playing with the cap. All right, so Denver and Jacksonville. Both of these teams are 2-5. That's a tough one. That's a 50-50 for me. What's ESPN got them looking like? Yeah, it's 50-50. So taking a look at the Broncos, you got a team that's been excuse me, struggling in the last 4 games against the Raiders, the Colts, the Chargers, and the Jets. I mean, really? Need I continue? Even the Raiders beat them. And that may well be one of... that's one of the few wins the Raiders actually have this year. So that's an interesting one. And looking at the Jaguars. Jaguars are struggling as well. They lost to the Eagles, the Texans, the Colts, and the Giants. I mean, those are respectable teams. They actually put up 27 against the Colts. They put up 23 against the Giants. The Texans defense shut them down. But they did put up 21 against the Eagles. Beat the Chargers. Beat the Colts the week before. Yeah, I'm going to respectfully take the Jaguars in this game. I think the Jags. That's going to be a 9:30 a.m. game. I got the Jags. That's in London. Yeah. Dallas and Chicago. We all know how this game is going to go. With Dak Prescott back. That's a win for the Star State. 6-2 Dallas Cowboys. And all of the Dallas fans are coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, championship since..." Shut up. Did y'all forget about the Eagles, who have not lost a game yet? Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, hold your horses, guys. Oh, man. That is going to be a rough game when those two meet up with each other. And I would not want to be the Cowboys fans after they take that L to Philadelphia. And all the Dallas fans right now, I guarantee you, they're all screaming, "Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles have such a weak schedule." Da, 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 da. Yeah, y'all haven't been without... Y'all have been struggling too, Dallas. You haven't had Dak Prescott. So, you won all those games without Dak Prescott. Let's see you win those games with Dak Prescott. So, let's see what happens there, man. It's too early to tell what that East race is going to look like. But I guarantee you that it's going to be those two teams at the end of it. I can guarantee that right now. Alright, so Miami and Detroit. I've got Miami 5-3 finishing out through week 8. You know, handing the Lions their 6th loss of the year. It'll be a nasty one. I'll tell you that. It'll go just like the rest of them. Detroit just will not be able to pull it off. Alright, so Arizona and Minnesota. Now here's an interesting factoid. The Minnesota Vikings are 5-1. Eyebrow raise right there, man. Nobody expected that. Alright, so the Vikings. I've got to look at the Vikings team, man. I have not gotten a real good look at them yet to find out if this 5-1 is legitimate or not. But it's looking like it is. Thus far, it is. They beat a Packers team that is struggling this year. They got blown up by the Eagles. Alright, so the Eagles are for real. If the Eagles are the only team to hand the Vikings a loss, the Eagles are for real. Alright, so Vikings have beat the Detroit Lions 28-24. They beat the Saints 28-25. They took advantage of a weak Bears team 29-22. And they beat the Dolphins last week 24-16. So this is a Vikings team that is 5-1, but their defense needs some work. Okay? The last 3 games leave a little bit to be desired on defense against some of these teams here. Now the Saints, I'll grant you the Saints have put up some numbers. And the Lions offense has been monstrous. So I'll grant you that. But to limit the Dolphins to only 16, you know, to go up 22 points against the Bears and Justin Fields, you know, I can't decide if this Vikings team is for real or not yet until I see a little bit more. So, I mean, with this win over Arizona, that would be a convincing factor right there. That would tell me, okay, the Vikings are for real. You know, 6-1, I would start to really believe it after that point. Because Arizona's got a real tough defense. And they will test you, Minnesota. We know. Because we faced it. And we got rocked by it. So, if you even show any signs of real weakness on that offensive line, they'll start exposing it. So, you know, show me a little something, Minnesota. Because I don't want to see Arizona jump up there into that 4-win column, man. I don't want to see that. That's going to be a problem for us later on down the road. When we're in the wild card hunt, you know. So we got the Saints and the Raiders. Saints will win that game. I'm calling that one right now. Saints have more firepower and the Raiders are struggling. Now the Jets. Look at the Jets. 5-2. Look at this record right here. Wow. If anybody was to tell me the Jets would be 5-2 through this week, at the beginning of the year, I would have said, you're nuts. There's just no way. There's no possible way. But then when you start breaking down the Jets, it's like, wait a minute. This is legitimate. This is a legitimate 5-2 right here. And they're about to become 6-2 against New England. Wow. I mean, if the Jets somehow pull this off, have they already beat New England once already? I think they did. Let me double check this. I mean, if okay, this is the first game against the Patriots this year. They do face them again in Week 10. So, I mean, I see a split here between the Patriots and Jets. I see that happening. Because the New England is a respectable 3-4, even though they're struggling right now. They're still a respectable 3-4. But Buffalo's got full command of this division. There's no question about it. That 5-1 record, it doesn't show you what they have on that roster, man. It's monstrous. So that's realistically, this is going to be a heck of a showdown between the Jets and New England this week. And I think the Jets will take it. You got Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Philadelphia can prove to us they deserve to go 7-0 by beating Pittsburgh and limiting Pittsburgh to less than 20 points again. Proving my point that Pittsburgh is a winnable game. Against a legitimate opponent. And I would consider us a legitimate opponent if we beat the Falcons twice in the next three weeks here. I actually legitimately think we will be a contender. I'm not saying a playoff contender. I'm saying a contender for the NFC South. And once you get into the playoffs, it's a totally different animal. But going through the NFC South right now, winning these two Falcons games is massively huge in proving that we can do this. And we can go up against a Pittsburgh team, and we can go up against a Seattle team, and some of these intermediate teams that are contenders right now that are sitting in the 3 or 4 win range currently. So that'll be Philadelphia's win, 7-0. All right, Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee wins 5-2. Obviously. I mean, come on, man. Houston doesn't have squat. Let's be real here. They got maybe a couple of offensive weapons, but that's it. At this point, it ain't looking good for Houston. Y'all gonna have to turn a miracle turnaround in order to get back in these races at this point. Washington and Indianapolis. Obviously, they pulled Matt Ryan. So, what's next for the Colts? That's the major question. And Washington just came off a big win. So they are 3-4. So as far as Washington fans are concerned right now, they think they're still right in the mix and right with everybody at the moment. They just beat the Packers in Lambeau. No, this was no, this was at home in Washington. That's right. Okay. So this is at home. 23-21. So that's a big win right there. They're feeling pretty good, man. And they're liking Taylor Heineke, man. They like Taylor. So they barely beat the Bears. They beat the Jags. Not a huge accomplishment at the moment. Lost to the Lions in a shootout. They outscored them by 9. Not a surprise. Beat the Eagles. No, they lost to the Eagles in a blowout. They lost to the Cowboys in a blowout. And that was without Dak Prescott, by the way. They lost to the Titans 21-17. Alright, so this is a fairly unimpressive Washington team up until now with that win over the Packers that may have put them into the hunt again. The problem is, how many weeks can they sustain it? You have to ask that question at this point. If you're a Washington fan right now, how many weeks can you sustain this? Because you look at the rest of their schedule, it ain't pretty from here on. You got the Vikings after that, Eagles, Texans will be a win for them. The Falcons will be a true test right there. Giants will test them. Back-to-back games right there, by the way. Weird occurrence. I've never seen that happen until this year. But, you got the 49ers, the Browns, and the Cowboys still on your schedule. With Dak Brett back in Dallas now and healthy again. So it's not a pretty sight if you're a Washington fan right now. If you're looking at the schedule, you're going, How long until these guys just drop off the map? They're not going to be in the musical chairs race at the end of this. Sorry to say, neither will the Colts. Of all the 3 and 4 teams and the 3 and 3s and the 4-win teams right now, those two will not be in the race at the end of this. I don't see it. San Francisco and the Rams. I do see Washington winning that game over the Colts, though, because the Colts don't know what they're doing at quarterback, so 4 and 4 for Washington. Getting back to 500. So San Francisco and the Rams. As of right now, this is a tough one. I'm going to say San Francisco. But I'm very, very hesitant on this one because the Rams defense is really good. So, I don't know, man. They're going to have their hands full. But I think San Fran's got enough weaponry that they can handle it with Christian McCaffrey now. So that's going to be a 4-4 record at the end of that with a win over the Rams. Giants and Seahawks. You got a 6-1 Giants record against a 4-3 Seattle Seahawks. To me, this is an easy one. Giants improved to 7-1. Seattle's going through some rough changes right now on defense. this could be their opportunity right now to really cash in if you're a Giants fan. You know, although it's any given Sunday this year, man. Any given Sunday this year. So you never know. If you're a Seattle fan, don't give up yet. But miracles can happen. But right now, I don't see it. So the Giants improved to 7-1. Seattle goes down to 4-4. Green Bay and Buffalo. Obviously, Green Bay is going to get blown out here. It's going to be a 28-3 game here, I think. I'll be generous and say 10 because it's Aaron Rodgers, but he's been struggling, man. He's been struggling big time, and he's frustrated. And I don't think this is the game that he breaks out either. No. Excuse me. So we got a 6-1 Buffalo team at the end of this. Obviously, we've already seen the Baltimore win over Tampa Bay, which gives us an opportunity to take the division. So now we've got Cincinnati and Cleveland on Monday night. Obviously, that's going to go to Cincinnati. Cleveland is going to go down to 2-6. And one of those Cleveland wins was against us. Otherwise, they would be 1-7. You know, if Wilkes had been the head coach during that time period, which he was not. So, we are instead looking at a 2-6 record for Cleveland after this Monday night. And what that does for us is that boosts us above Cleveland. And that's helpful. Alright, moving on to the next topic. I'm going to go to the chat here. Let's see what people are saying. Yeah, CMC was with the Niners on Sunday against the Chiefs. Now they go play the Rams tomorrow. So, question for everybody here. How well do you think CMC is going to do against that Rams defense? I'm questioning that one because that Rams defense has gotten better. But I don't know. Since the last time we played them, I don't know. It would be really interesting to see, you know, if we had properly used CMC, like how he would do against that Rams defensive line. We're about to find out on Sunday. So, Matt Rule is a total disgrace to this team and his franchise. It's sickening. He went on a vacation during a game week. All he cared was about money. Good riddance, Matt Rule. Don't let the door slam on you. Wow. And he's not wrong. Matt Rule did take a vacation that week. During a game week. Now, what kind of a head coach does that? This is why I'm so thankful we have Steve Wilkes now. Oh my gosh. Y'all have no idea. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Holding our team and coordinator of the offense back. It's ridiculous, and us fans will never remember you. You're a disgrace. He had to vent there, so I get it, man. I get it. That brings up a good point, though. Was Matt Rule holding back Ben McAdoo? We asked this last week, and I think we're starting to get an answer to that question. We put up 21 so far. With a few adjustments, and we did 21 points. So, my question is, what adjustments are we making going into this Atlanta Falcons game that could push us past the 21-point mark and kind of break that glass ceiling a little bit? So that we can be truly competitive with teams like Baltimore, Seattle, and the Saints. What are we doing to get to that level that we need to get to? And once we get to that level, then this schedule becomes a lot more competitive and interesting for us. Because we've already got our defense going. We already know it's solid. We already know it's a top 10. No question about it. But what about our offense? See, that's the question mark, man. And this offensive line has been playing really well the last 2 weeks. They've dug into the trenches. They've won the battles, that they're supposed to win. They've been disciplined. They haven't committed penalties. They haven't committed pass deflections. So the question here becomes, where do we go from here on offense? What adjustments? That's the next step. All right, and I would like to think that Steve Wilkes is talking to his offensive coordinator right now, Ben McAdoo, and he's talking to some of the players on offense and saying, okay, here's what I want to see happen on Sunday. Can we pull this off? Can we go past 21? Granted, that was a tough Buccaneers defense, and a tough defensive line that we just beat. Their secondary is a little weaker than most of the teams here in the South that we've been playing against. Or watching, rather. Not playing against. So, here comes that Falcons beat up secondary that we can take advantage of. So how do we take advantage of it? I think we attack the spot that AJ Terrell was in. Which, if you look at it, and that spot is currently occupied by Mr. Mike Ford. So, I would target Mike Ford. Let's find out who this guy is. 6'0", 194. 5 years in the league. Southeast Missouri State. I've never even heard of that college, but interesting. Alright. 4 solo tackles, so this guy's getting thrown into the fire here a little bit. After being sat on the bench for as long as he has. This is a real opportunity for us, man. He hasn't really done anything in the last couple of years. They barely used him. Between the Broncos and Falcons here, it looks like. And when he was used, I'm seeing a couple of pass deflections, but really that's it. Nothing that really stands out to me. Except for the 51 solo tackles out of 66. But, I mean, primarily, that's not a guy that really concerns me. So we're going to find out who Mike Ford is today, on Sunday here, in this game coming up. And I suggest attacking him early. If you get a medium pass, take it against Mike Ford. If you if you see him coming up, watch out. Because again, we don't know who this guy is. based on those numbers. That's not enough to tell us who this guy is necessarily. So I would need to go looking into his college numbers and just see what he was talented at before he came into the NFL to truly understand and get a full picture on who Mike Ford is. But realistically, what he's done in the NFL, it's not much. And there's a reason why he hasn't been put on the field. I feel like he might be a special teamer maybe. Or just not been active out there. So this is a real opportunity to strike. You know, if PJ can hit those medium to deep passes, we may have a real shot at striking some fear into the Falcons defense. And I think Lorenzo or McHill here, as much as I am Rashawn Evans could give us a fight, man. But we're going to need to win that battle in the trenches against Abdullah and Grady Jarrett. So let's take a look at Mr. I don't even know how to say that name. Y'all know how to say it? Just put the pronunciation in chat if you know how to say it. He's an interesting one, though. Notre Dame graduate, 2 years, 6'4", 268. 4 solo tackles, 1 sack. But, 1 pass deflection, 1 sack last year. Wasn't really that active, to be honest. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I do remember when Atlanta took him in the draft, 2 years ago. I do remember it. But, yeah, we're very fortunate not to have AJ on the field against us. So, I think this could be a real good year for us. If we take down the Falcons twice, we're in great shape. But yeah, how are we going to adjust on offense, though? That's the main question of the week. Without CMC and Chuba out, that's going to be a real test. I want to see how Ben McAdoo rises to the challenge here, with him being let off the leash. No Matt Rule to hold him back. Find out who you really are, Ben McAdoo. Let's find out how good this playbook really is that you're coming up with. And we do need to use DJ more. We were throwing to him in the last game. But I'm going to need to see Higgins out there. I'm going to need to see Terrence Marshall Jr. out there making some plays. I'm going to need to see, let's find out who Blackshear is, as a running back too. Let's make these carries 60, 20, 20. That's what I'm looking to see that right there. And let's not overuse Foreman right now until we find out, can he do this on a consistent basis? That's my question. Can he do it on a consistent basis? I like him so far. I like the numbers I saw on Sunday, against the Bucs, but I need to see a little more. Can he do this again and again and again? That will tell me, okay, this dude is for real this year. He's been for real in his career so far. You can look at his numbers and tell, but which honestly I didn't even fully look at his numbers until this past week to get a full understanding of who he is. I just was not impressed with what I saw in training camp. Let's put it that way. And I have to eat some crow on this dude, man. I have to. I absolutely have to. I didn't think those numbers were legitimate. I was so proven wrong last Sunday, it's ridiculous. So, props to you, man. Hats off to you. Those numbers you put up were legitimate. I can't argue with it. That's results right there. And it helped us get down the field. So, every now and then, man, when I'm wrong, it helps us out. So, tipping my cap to you, sir. That's how we get things done around here, man. We get players like that coming out of nowhere, surprising us, and excuse me. It's a beautiful thing. David Screws says 34-10 Panthers coming up here against Atlanta. I'm gonna say 21 to maybe 10 or 14. That's what I'm thinking right now. If we shut down that running game that Atlanta's famous for, they only get 10. And that's... Atlanta becomes one-dimensional. They've got to beat us in the air, and Mariota can't do that. Not against this secondary. So there's no way. We've got this under complete control on defense. All we got to do is win those battles in the trenches, and we got this, man. I feel completely confident in our ability to get this done week after week after week on defense. This defense has shown me through 2 weeks now, this is a 4-quarter defense. Okay? A solid 4-quarter defense. A consistent 4-quarter defense. And they're not going away. They're only getting better. And we might even have Chin back. So, with all our defensive pieces, major defensive pieces like Brian Burns being healthy, Dante's back, Horn's back, you got Luvu that should be able to be back as well under a limited capacity. I mean, this is going to be a nasty defense, guys. Absolutely nasty. I can't wait to see when we get all of these guys healthy again. God. That's going to be nasty, guys. And it's starting to feel like that 14 and 15 defense again. It really is. I'm seeing flashes of it, guys. And ladies, I'm seeing it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming. It's coming along very nicely. Alright, so yeah, I've got a little less optimism from our offense. That we could put up 34 though. I don't think we're putting up 34. I think 21 to 24 is more realistic at the moment. For us offensively. Unless we somehow break that glass ceiling, then I'm saying 28. Because we've got the weaponry. You know what I mean? We just have to find a way to put it to good use. And keep moving down the field. We got to keep converting on those situations and downs where we can convert and keep the foot on the pedal, man. Don't be satisfied with just this one win. Don't be satisfied with just 2 wins. Keep moving. You know what I mean? Keep going. This team has a ton of potential. If I can speak right. But we got a ton of potential. You know, to get between 6 and 9 wins this year. And I think that's a major accomplishment considering how we started and what we started with. I'm very excited about the potential here. You know, I feel like the offense is going to cook and the defense is going to eat. Yeah, the defense is definitely going to eat, man. Defense is absolutely going to eat. Personally, I like Haynes over Gross Matos at this point. If we just had that one really, really good, solid defensive end on the other side of Brian Burns and Haynes, this is a top 5 offense at that defense at that point. I mean, top 5 defense. I'm saying it now. With a little linebacker depth and a proper defensive end over there. Yeah. Top 5. Top 5 for sure. Now, offensively, like I said, we're not breaking that hump yet. And we need to break that hump and get past 21. We managed to do that. This could be one of the toughest teams out there in that jungle right now, competing for a spot. This could probably be the best wildcard contender team out there, or division hunter, shall we call it? We can win the division, but I don't know how far we can go in the playoffs. That's a whole nother question once we get there. But right now, we got to get there. First goal is division. First goal is this Sunday, okay? This Sunday. We don't need to look any further than just this Sunday, right now. That is our 100% focus right now, is these next 3 games. Don't look any further than that right now. Don't pass go, don't collect $200, no, none of that. Focus on these next 3 games. We take 2 out of these next 3, we're in the money. Alright. We got to utilize more. Yes, already said that. We need to get Marshall more involved in this offense. Absolutely. I completely agree. I understand, but we have too much talent on this offense. Matt Rule is holding back this offense. It's sad. Yeah, I know, man. That's true. It's true. We do have too much talent. To be sitting on just 21 points? Nah. 28 or 35 is possible with this offense. Really clicking on all cylinders. But we got to get this thing moving, though. And I need to see some conversions, first of all, in these tough situations that we keep finding ourselves in. These 2nd and 10s, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 5s, we got to have some conversions. You know what I mean? If we want to keep this offense moving, we got to have those. then it'll be a matter of, okay, let's build some confidence on those plays. Let's start converting on first and second down. Tempo, 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 tempo. At that point, let's keep moving, you know? If you got a run game going, let's get that in motion, you know? Let's get that going. You know, let's open this thing up. We got so many weapons. Let's open it up. And I don't know if Ben McAdoo knows realistically what he wants his end goal to be with this game plan. That's my question is, like, does he know what this offense should look like at full speed? You know, at full capacity. What does this offense look like when it's fully running at full steam and on all cylinders? If you can answer that question, that's our ceiling. That's the ceiling we're trying to reach. That's the bar. If you can't answer that question, how do you get there? So those are the two questions I've got for Ben McAdoo. If you can figure those two out, you could break past that 21-point glass ceiling that we're at right now, which is a very, very good thing. You got a nickname for Wilkes? I actually felt this, no doubt. He reminds me of Denzel Washington, no joke. People have been saying that. People have been saying that, bro. Like, it's interesting you mentioned that. I've seen that on about two different podcasts. They've actually said that. That's funny. This man means business just like training day, man. Yeah. Just like training day. Real talk. So, I mean, I like what I see here, man. This is a nasty team that can beat this Atlanta crew here. So, what can we do about this cap space? Because the trade deadline is on Tuesday. So I think I want to spend the last bit of this stream focusing on the cap. You know, what happens if we move certain people? And I'm glad that that David is in here because he was helping me with this week. And we're just naming off certain players that could be moved or you know, cut, trade, or keep, you know, type standards. So that being the how many people we got in chat here? Do we have enough to truly play this game and find out what we're dealing with here? Or would we rather do this after the game on Sunday? What do you guys think? I think we could do it. David, you the only man in here, man? You the only one in here right now? If you're watching right now and you're not commenting, let me know that you're here. If you want to get in on this. Because we're about to have a little fun. And hopefully we can find something that Scott Fitter has not seen yet. You never know. But right now, I think we could do a little bit of this in both streams. Why not? We got about 3 or 4 people up in here, man. Let's try it. All right. I think we're gonna start with the obvious person because there's been a lot of trade rumors been going around. Um, Especially today. How about Baker Mayfield? Let's begin there. Keep, trade, or extend. Baker Mayfield, guys. Baker. Extend or trade? What would you like to do with him? And I'll give you my opinion once you guys give me yours. The energy Wilkes brings gives me cold chills. Yeah, man, I hear that. I hear that for real. That's a fact. Nightman, keep pounding. Okay. You want to see Baker again? Okay. All right, so that's one so far. I'm gonna agree with that because I'm not seeing any responses right now except for Lock Poppy. So I'm gonna agree. I think Baker Mayfield. Um, we're gonna list him as green extend here. You know, of course, I have no idea what this contract should look like, so we're just going to go ahead and transact that and just say, okay, well, it's Baker, right? All right, so moving on. Corbett is going to be a free agent next year. You know, how are we going to find a way to no, it's Bozeman. It's Bozeman that's going to be the free agent. That's right. Okay. So Bozeman, to me, I like him. You know, and you're looking at $2.8 million. If you want to keep this guy, it's going to cost you, you know, within $5 million if you want to keep him. So do we keep him or no? And we're talking about Bozeman here. After about a week, that's an interesting one because keep in mind we're left with Pat Eflin. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. All right, so to me, I'm gonna leave Buzzman alone for right now because I don't know what we're gonna do about him. Yeah, that is a hard one. I like the talent he's putting up right now. I like what he's able to give us. But money wise, it may not be possible. Alright, so moving on. Ian Thomas. And I know David Screws has a feeling about Ian Thomas. He thinks trade him. So we would be left with Tommy Tremble. And we would be losing Steven Sullivan. Unless you wanted to re-sign Steven Sullivan. That being the case, what do we do with Ian? You know, keep him or trade him? What would you like us to do? Because I'm feeling, at the moment, if we look at what Ian Thomas would do to our cap, let's just say we trade him. Let's say we trade him, okay? And he's part of a package deal. This is what happens. But, ladies and gentlemen, we just ate $5 million. Out of an $8 million dead money situation. So, $5 million, you have to pay him. However, that does put us in the black majorly. That's the question here. Alright, so if you trade Ian, and Lock Poppy thinks he agrees with David here and says, let's trade him. I do present a door 3, which is restructure. If we do restructure, what would that look like? That's the question I've got. You could get a return investment, but for how much? See, I don't know. What if you do that? And see, I don't know anything about non-prorated bonuses, so that's one of those things I don't know anything about. Alright, so let's see if we trade him. Trade post 6-1. So that's June 1st. We want to trade him before then. Alright, so realistically what that does is it gives us about $5 million in cap space for next year. Yes, it does cost us a couple million this year, but again, if you want Baker Mayfield back here, that's going to cost us a little bit of money. So that'll probably drop, and so will that. This is complicated stuff, so alright, bear with me here. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Shaq. Now, I'm not presenting an option on this one. This is a trick question. If you move Shaq, here's what happens. Look at the money you get for 2023, but look at our money this year. That's why Shaq is not on the market, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to tell you that straight up right now. That's why he's not on the market pre-trade deadline. That's not going to work for us. If you somehow manage to trade Sam Darnold, here's what happens. We get that money back for this year. We might be eating a little bit of dead money, but still, $26.6 million this year. A little bit of that carries over, I think, into the next year, but I'm not sure how much. See, I'm not sure how that works. That would be a question I would ask Scott Fitterer, because he's more of a guru when it comes to this stuff than I am. This is his area, so. But that's a big payout for this year, right? Honestly, I don't really want to do that because number one, he's injured still, or did he just come off? He just came off injury, didn't he? Last we heard, he was wearing a regular practice jersey, so I don't know, man. For now, I think we let that roll, but if we were to move him this year, before this trade deadline would be the time to do it. You are looking at this $18 million right here in dead money. That would immediately go back into our cap. So, I don't know, man. Would you like to do it or not? That's the question. And I'm not sure how we got to that part. Let me see if I... There we go. Okay, it's dead money. Gotcha. So... Sam Darnold is, I think, scheduled to be a free agent. No, he is not. So if you're going to make a move on Sam Darnold, now is the time to do it. Brian Burns. People were talking about this one. This is what the Brian Burns would do. Now, yes, that brings us up to 10 mil this year, and it brings us up to 21 mil next year. But realistically, do we do it? You know, I say yes, you know, since we were offered the 2 firsts. But, that talent, though, is worth 2 firsts. To me, it is. Because you can always get another defensive end. 2 firsts would allow us to get 2 starting defensive end. Not just 1, but 2. And quality ones at that. So for me, that deal for the 2 firsts, I would have taken it. And keep in mind, folks, you're looking at $10 million in rookie contracts. You're looking at $7 to $8 million in extra money that, you know, you'll need to spend for injuries and such during the regular season. Sometimes up to 10 to move people around freely. So this is an interesting scenario where that Brian Burns number could have really helped us a lot. And I mean, taking Baker out of the equation, that's what it looks like. Think about that. That's what we could have been looking at. It could have given us a year, about $1 million for this year. But man, the money it gives us in 23. Now the question is, how much dead money do we eat because of that move? Are there any cap restrictions, you know, because of a move like that? So these are things you got to keep in mind. And this is stuff that I have no knowledge on. This goes beyond my expertise, folks. Cap money, contracts, you know, how much money to give a player. That goes beyond my expertise there. All right, so that's if you move Ian Thomas and you move Brian Burns, which together, in my opinion, would be worth the two firsts, value wise. Um, so let's take Ian Thomas out of the equation. That's realistically what we would be looking at. Right there. 12 million in black, 15 million in black for next year. That's what we're looking at. Now add in Ian Thomas, like I was saying. Of course, you got to pay Ian Thomas the $5 million. You still have to pay Brian Burns about $2 million, but still, look at the advantage, numbers wise, you've got here. This is, this is unignorable. And I think CJ Henderson is worth a trade as well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw him in there. So we're getting some money back for that one for next year. About $4 million, right? Roughly. And these picks don't exactly have to be 2023 picks. They could be 2024 picks and 25 picks, that you move these players for. I do want people to keep that in mind. So you move on down this list. I think we could move LaVisca in a trade. That would free up even more money. You want to extend JJ. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in. Keith Taylor, honestly, we're going to need a corner. Keith Taylor is probably locked in for another 2 years, right? No, he's going to be... That's fine. We would be able to get another corner to replace him. No problem. Sean Taylor, I want gone. I just straight up want him gone. Just cut him. He's not even worth a 6th or a 7th at this point. If we're going to throw him into a package deal, whoever's getting him is getting him for free, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even want him here. Yeah, value-wise. I don't think he's even worth anything at this point. As I've said before, I don't think he's worthy of a 53-man roster. Now, notice I didn't say anything about practice squad. He could easily be a practice squad man. But I did not say anything about that. But 53-man roster wise, no. He's not tradable to me. Alright, so you go on down and you look at Chandler Wooten probably won't be here. So we'll go ahead and cut him. Right? End of the year. End of the year cut. Cut post 6-1. Nah, cut pre 6-1. If you're cutting post 6-1, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Post 6-1. I don't think he's gonna be here. Deontay Brown. I mean, I would like to see Deontay Brown with more reps. So if we give him a chance up there, and we let him battle it out with Michael Jordan for that backup role, I would really, really like to see what happens. Unfortunately, we don't have a spot open right now. So it's tough to... It would be really tough to move him up at the moment. So that's fine. If you want to experiment, do that during the time when it's not necessary, to have a win, such as if you're looking at the schedule, let's see. The Bengals game would be a good opportunity to test him and see what he can do. Perhaps that Lions game. Because we don't necessarily have to have that Lions game.
Hey, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and...
Or an easily winnable game like Denver would be a good time to test him as well. And also the bye week, you could throw him in and just find out what he can do in practices, you know what I mean? During that week off. During preparation time. That would be the right time. Honestly. So you got 3 opportunities. Just depending on what we have available roster spot wise. Do you want to move him up and test him? Kenny Robinson, for me, would move up with Sean Chandler gone. Then you would need another safety, which we could draft late rounds. It's fine. Phil Hoskins, I've got questions. Is this dude going to actually make a roster or what? I don't know. Saunders. I mean, probably move Saunders, right? Let's go ahead and cut him. End of the year. End of the year cut right there. Preston Williams. I don't even know who that is. Oh, he's a wide receiver. Okay. I got you. Cut. Blair, probably a cut. Coleman, probably a cut. Mosby, I think we keep Mosby around. Let's find out about him. Blackshear we're definitely keeping. Marquand McCall, I would like to keep as well. So, I mean, all in all, oh, who's John Lovett? John Lovett is a running back. Okay. So that's just a random signing. Alright, so we'll end of the year cut, right? This is realistically what we're looking at. And since we cannot afford Bozeman, we would then be able to afford him with all these moves. So frankly, you are looking at Sam Darnold becoming a free agent. You know, you're looking at Cameron Irving becoming a free agent, which honestly, maybe we should draft somebody to replace Irving. Irving is Cameron Irving is a replacement at right tackle. So, I mean, if you find somebody better in the draft, then I don't mind losing Irving. You know, because that saves us a little bit of draft capital that we could spend on somebody else. If not, that becomes a totally different animal. You know, if we don't find anybody better than Cameron Irving in this mock, in this draft board that is coming up. Corey Littleton, I would like to keep because of his run defensive ability. Alright, so we extend him. I don't know how much money you want to move him for, but Bozeman, you would then be able to afford him with the 27.4 there. With all these moves going on. So yes, move. Move for him. You know, people were saying, okay, let's keep Baker. You know, we're not trading him, right? So we would then need to extend Baker. So let's go ahead and throw that transaction in there. So 2023. Back here again. Michael Jordan, let him go. Let his contract go. If you want to move him, then we need to do that before the season ends. Okay? He's worth a fourth. So I'm going to suggest we move him. Now, if you want to pick up a cheap guard and test out Deontay Brown, let's do it. I'm all in on that move right there. As I do not trust Michael Jordan at all. Where is he even? Where is this dude? I don't see him. There he is, Michael Jordan. Okay. Alright. So we want to trade. Boom. We get money back for him. That's a smart move. Alright, so all in all, this is what you would be looking at with all of these moves included. not trading Brian Burns with all of these moves would look like this. This is why we should have taken the 2 first. I keep telling y'all. $10 million in the black is not enough for 2023. The 2 first would make up for that. Listen to what I'm saying, y'all. I love Brian Burns as much as the rest of y'all. But we can get 2 defensive ends for the price of Brian Burns. We can get 2 really good defensive ends for the price of Brian Burns. Imagine having 2 solid guys, you know. Imagine having a Julius Peppers on one side and a Charles Johnson on the other side. Just like we did in the old days. Yeah, we're going to have to pay him eventually, but imagine that. I mean, that could be nasty, guys. And all you got to do is let go of Brian Burns to get to the next level. And I mean, I love Brian Burns, don't get me wrong, but this is business. You know, this is ascending to the next level. When you get offered 2 first for a player that gives you money in the black, as much as we love Burns, it's a tough decision. It really, really is. But look how much capital that gives us, man, for next year. It's not even close. $16 million in the black for next year. $16 million. Yes, you're paying him $2 million of his cap number. But still. I don't know how much this cap, the salary contract is. You know, there's a lot of contract mumbo jumbo that I don't know about. So, just basing it off of what we're seeing here. Excuse me. Frankly, just looking at what we're seeing here. That's money in the bank. I mean, why don't you take that? That killed me, man. Anyone that's really paying attention to this stuff, you know, the fine-tuned details of what this brings us. Not just, oh, his value. Yeah, his value is half the equation. The other half is the money. You know, and the talent that you're losing. That is a nasty, nasty crew right there. Alright, so. We extended Baker. We extend Corey Littleton. We extend Bradley Bozeman. Even after all of that, you are still looking at $15 million in the black, probably. If you want Justin Burris, I think let's extend Burris as well. Hartsfield, why not? You know, PJ Walker, obviously. Extend. At this point, you can afford these people. And Foreman, probably. Probably. Well, how about that? I mean, even after that, still $22 million in the black. And I mean, this is probably minus about, what, I'd say give or take 8 to 10 million. You're still in good shape, man. That's rookie numbers. You'd probably want to make one more move. You know, maybe not re-sign maybe leave Corey Littleton alone, because that's going to be some money right there, you know what I mean? Alright, so let's leave Littleton alone. You know, let's let him go. And let's see. Let's say we excuse me. Let's say we do manage to trade Sam Darnold. That's a lot of money we get this year. However, that doesn't help us for 23, which is the main question we have going on here. So let Sam Darnold's contract run out, as far as I'm concerned. Moving on down. Obviously, we got Corbett for another year or two. Bozeman, we would probably lose Bozeman unless we try to make a move to get him back. Yeah, so if you lose Bozeman and you lose Pat Eflin, well, no, you would be stuck with Pat Eflin. That's correct. Okay, so you're stuck with Pat Eflin. You would need to draft a center. Is essentially what you would need to do. We're not going to spend free agency money on a center. We're going to draft one. This is what we're looking at, folks. Cameron Irving could come back if you want him for a certain price. However, I don't know what that price would be. See, this is where we get into a little bit of trouble with cap monies, because I don't know how much money these guys should get. You know, Scott Fitterer knows better than any of us. He's got certain numbers in mind, and he wants to run the calculations with those numbers, which is fine. But this is essentially what we're looking at, man. We've got to have PJ Walker. We've got to have Burris back there. We got to have Hartsfield. And we're going to draft a safety to replace Chandler. You know, we got to have J.J. Jensen. He's an inaugural piece of this team. You know what I mean? We looking for a kicker or a punter at this point is mundane. He can go another couple years. We can make that last. Now, here's the question. If you are going to re-sign Richie, Giovanni Richie, right? And we plan on using him as a fullback, probably. I would use him as a fullback. Or a blocker on the outside. So essentially, yes, a fullback. Do you pay him tight end numbers to do a fullback job? Or do you let this man's contract run out? That's the question I've got right there. That is the magical question. That I don't know. But, essentially, that's where the buck stops, man. And yes, we would have some major holes to fill, but we're cleaning house, though. You know what I mean? We're cleaning house. Yeah, we can get some cheap guys to fill out the rest of the year, but we've got solid starters. You know what I mean? We got solid starters. Alright, so if you were to move Michael Jordan for a fourth, you just pick up another offensive guard, on the practice squad, move up Deontay Brown, let him get those reps with the second team. No problem. Easily solvable. Cameron Irving. Obviously, we got to find a way to extend him at the end of the year or let him go. Let his contract go. One of the two. But right now, we can ride with Irving. We don't need to move him. Richie, big question mark right there. Like I said, do you pay him tight end numbers to play fullback position? Or are we going to get to see him more involved? Which is it? He either plays tight end or he doesn't. And you're not going to pay him tight end numbers to do a fullback's job. Alright, so moving on. Dante Foreman, we would lose him, but we'd probably draft a running back anyway. So, frankly, we're stuck with Chuba Hubbard and Blackshear, which is not a bad thing. And Spencer Brown. That's not a bad thing either. And whoever we replace Foreman and Christian McCaffrey with is going to be a great running back, considering the picks that we have. PJ we have to resign, obviously. Defensively, I forgot about Bozeman. Yeah, Bozeman. We would probably let him go at the end of the year because he's gonna be worth too much money. Corbett, I would love to keep him. I would like to keep one of the two of these guys. I'm not sure who it's gonna be. But we got Cade Mays to play right guard, so there you go. In that case, if you were going to replace Corbett with Cade Mays, then we would need a right guard as well. That's going to be tough to come by right there. It's going to be tough. I'm not feeling that move. I say we let that Bozeman and Corbett go until the end of the year. And just figure out what we're going to do there. I'm afraid to move either one of them because we'll never get them back. We'll never get that level of talent back if you split those two up. Defensive end. Brian Burns, I've already spoken my piece about that one. Haynes is ready. Clearly. But, does he have the starter material talent? Maybe. Does he have the type of talent that Brian Burns does? No. However, is he ready to start? Yes. Moving on down. Who is Corey Littleton? Yes, we lost a linebacker, but we're drafting one. So, Littleton does not surprise me that he is going to end up on that list. That is okay with me. So I'm going to leave Littleton off. That's something we don't necessarily have to have. Since we're drafting a linebacker anyway, we might as well get somebody that's really, really solid right there. We would still have Mosby. We would still have Brandon Smith. Chandler Wooten probably wouldn't make the roster. Coming up into 2023. So, whoever we get to replace Littleton, he's going to be really, really good. At that point. Messing around with the cap. That's what I would think about doing. Okay. And I would move CJ while he's still worth something. I would sell high on CJ right now. If I had to guess, probably maybe a fifth for CJ. Maybe a fifth. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Keith Taylor is struggling. However, I would re-sign him in the interest of trying to make sure that we get a really, really solid corner. And Keith would beat him on number 4. With Tay Hayes being on practice squad. Got Burris. We need to re-sign Burris. So realistically, that's what this team would look like. Plus or minus some people in the practice squad that you can move around freely if you got the money to do it. Bottom line, man, we got some options, but it's not looking pretty. That being said, ahead of Tuesday's trade deadline, those are my suggestions. I don't know. I'm not prepared to really lock any of these in, realistically, except for we've got to have Burris, we've got to have Hartsfield. Okay? Those two are necessary. So realistically here, and Baker, you're going to want to extend him at the end of the year. So if we trade Cameron Irving, which we're not going to do. Okay. Michael Jordan trades in there. So should be, right? Visca, Michael Jordan, yes. Sean Chandler. Alright, these are the moves we can make right now. Realistically, and okay. Anyway, that is what I would do. I don't know that any of these are worth locking in, except for the two safeties. We can't afford to lose them, and realistically, we cannot afford to lose. J.J. Jensen, obviously. And we obviously can't afford to lose P.J. Walker at this point. I mean, point made right there, right? Those are the three we can't afford to lose. Lose any of the rest of these guys, it won't kill us. But safety position's a really tough one to go and try to find. Around the 10 to 15 area of the draft. It's tough, guys. So, that's where we're sitting ahead of the trade deadline. Do what you will with that. Play around with it if you'd like to on the interactive on overthecap.com. If you'd like to play around with this yourself. But do keep in mind, none of the values that I extended these players on are legitimate numbers. You have to figure that out for yourselves based on the former contract numbers that you see for each player, which I'm not very good at. Other people are, so I'll leave that into the hands of people that are more capable. That said, that is our stream for tonight. If anyone would like to throw something else in chat that they would like to discuss with me, go for it. You got a couple more minutes. We can do that. Otherwise, I think that'll be it. I think I've covered everything. Anybody got anything they would like to discuss? Go for it. All right. Well, shout out to Lock Poppy, Samuel Davis, Mr. David Screws, which I talk to pretty much on a daily basis nowadays, and Sean Bradham on Facebook. Welcome. Shout out to all the new subscribers and members. Love all of you. Welcome back on in if you are returning here. If you are new, hit that like and sub button. It helps out a lot. Lets you know when I go live. And share it with your friends. Let's hit that 500 mark, guys. We're on the road to it. I'm not begging for likes. I'm not begging for subscribers. But if you guys happen to find somebody that might like what we do here, please do send them our way. You know, I'm not begging for members. You know, or likes. You know, I'm not doing this for selfish reasons. I really do want to help this team and this franchise, and that's what we're here for. You know, and as a group, we work together and we come up with solutions that can help this management to make good decisions. You know, so, or, you know, suggestions for the management so that they can be assisted with those decisions that they may not have seen. All right, so we also praise players that have been doing well on the team, every week. So that's a thing that we do. So all in all, the main thing we do is we just keep pounding, you know. So I welcome all 32 team fans up in here, and also newcomers to the game of football. So if you're interested in coming up in here and learning more about the team and more about the sport of football and especially the NFL, please do jump on in here, man, and listen to me yap all night. Because I do tend to go on some major rants, and some major topic conversation. What would y'all call it? I don't know. But you know what I mean. If you've been here long enough, you know what I'm talking about. I do tend to go on and on and on about a subject. That's just something I do. But I'm not proud of it, but if it leads to a good solution and a good answer to some answers to people's questions, then absolutely. So yeah, that being said, if anybody's got questions or anything they'd like to talk about, last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to call this a night. And let's go get that win in Atlanta, guys. Let's go get it. And let's take back our house. You know what I mean? It is beyond time. Let's take back our crown. I believe it's possible we can do it. But we got to stay motivated. We got to not settle. And we got to play like we know we can play. And do what we're supposed to do. All the little mechanics and things like that, I think Steve Wilkes has done a good job of preparing this team, and I think we'll be ready. I have no doubt in my mind. And this is the first time I've felt this confident in this team going into an Atlanta game in a long time that we're going to get a win. So, let's go bring it home, boys. As always, hope you guys have a fantastic night. Stay happy, healthy, and well. And I think the only thing that I have left to say here is keep pounding. So we will we'll do the post game stream, halftime stream will be happening this week. Make sure you check the Facebook page for in-game post and what time we'll go live. And as far as Zoom chat for if you want to watch the game with me. Make sure you keep your eyes on that Facebook page, that Facebook group page for that information. Thank you guys so much, and much love and support to all of you. See you guys in the next one, I guess. Keep pounding.